Welcome everyone, good morning. Lovely to see people joining. Please do add into the chat. So on the left hand side, there's the chat function and the Q&A. You should be able to write into the chat there. Just say where you're calling from today, perhaps what organisation you're part of as well that you're calling from, and where in the UK or world. Always nice to hear. This is our Sustainability Engagement Masterclass, all about turning students into champions. So over the next 60 minutes, we will be recording this and then we'll send it around, and we'll go through, hopefully inspiring you and giving you ideas as how to turn your students into champions. I'll just give it another minute or so whilst people join. But yeah, do add into the chat and say hello if you just joined. Nice to hear from you, Alicia from UWE Bristol. Nice. Civic and Community Engagement Team. Welcome. Okay, lovely. I've given it a minute or so. So we will get started. But yeah, if you just joined, do introduce yourself in the chat. Next slide, Sam. So today, I'm delighted to be joined by Teifion Maddocks, Sustainability Manager at Swansea University. So we're going to hear from Teifion first, all about engaging students in climate action at the university with the Swell programme and with their recent Go Green Week. Then I'll be covering how to activate your student champions, and we'll have some time for questions at the end. So we've got the Q&A function. Please feel free to add in questions at any point in that Q&A space, and we will come to them at the end. And also, use the chat. So great to see Izzy from Brighton and Laura from Winchester. Thanks everyone for joining. Next slide. First, just to give a bit of context about us. So I'm Katie Rees, I'm the Engagement Director at Team Jump. And who are Team Jump, if you haven't really come across us much before? We deliver custom sustainability engagement programs, including the one that Swansea uses to engage their students, which they call Swell. And there are two components to these programs. So the first is a rewards platform where students and staff compete to log their sustainable actions and win a prize voucher. And the second is the ongoing support we provide through comms and engagement and program performance reviews. The platform tracks engagement and impact data, allowing sustainability managers to see how emissions, energy, waste, and more are being avoided. And I think Teifion will show a bit about this. So we currently work with around 15 universities, including Warwick, Durham, Manchester, Edinburgh, Anglia Ruskin, University of South Wales and Strathclyde. And we work with other clients in the NHS, councils and private as well. So that is that's about us. I'll now introduce Teifion. Sam, next slide. So as mentioned previously, we've worked with Teifion for around 10 years, managing the Swell Sustainability Engagement Programme, where students can get rewarded for their sustainable actions. So on that note, I will hand over to you, Teifion.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks very much for the introductions, Katie. Apologies for the photo. I didn't realize they were going to do that. I genuinely didn't send them that photo. So as Katie said, I'm Sustainability Manager at Swansea University. I've been at the university over 10 years and had the pleasure to work alongside Team Jump for that pretty much the duration on the development of Swell. And I'm just going to give you a brief overview of kind of where we're at with Swell, and also how we've utilised the Go Green Week initiative to really champion sustainability and find out who is interested in sustainability, but also get those people to be sort of allies in spreading the word and getting the message out that we can't really manage just alone as a small sustainability team, just 4 of us now in Swansea University. So next slide, please, Sam. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the intro done. So yeah, just to give a quick overview of Swansea University. We're sort of a medium-sized university. We are sort of research intensive as well. So you can see kind of 20,000 students, over 300 courses, significant as I imagine most institutions are these days, with heat and power over £10 million a year, large carbon emissions across our scope 1, 2 and 3, and significant site areas, 2 campuses on either side of Swansea. And yeah, you can see we do have ambitious aspirations when it comes to sustainability, and we've been able to demonstrate that in the last couple of years through some really good league performance. It's obviously vitally important to universities to compete in terms of students, research, and also show that through our meaning, our sort of vision and purpose, we're delivering on the Sustainable Development Goals as well. So next slide, please. Just a brief view. It's actually not a bad day in Swansea today. I can't guarantee it'll look like that today, but not far off. So that's our Singleton campus. It's what we refer to as a campus in a park. As you can see, it's right neighbouring a beach and a triple SI. And this is the main sort of cohort for our sciences, and also medicine and humanities campus. It is obviously a great location and a big attraction for students to come and be just on the fringes of the Gower Peninsula, and we're really keen to make sure that not only do we make students so warm and welcome in Swansea, but they get out into nature and make sort of the most of what's around them through learning and through sort of well-being and for sustainability purposes as well. Next slide, please. And then this is our newer campus. This was built in 2015. This is the Bay campus on the other side of Swansea, ex-brownfield site, and it's been transformed into a state-of-the-art campus with mainly our engineering cohort and some business school and some also innovation centres for industry as well, things like aviation based on this campus. Also neighbouring the beach, as you can see, pretty much on the beach. Those people who are lucky enough to come along to the EAC conference in June will be on this campus. And it's also, we're custodians for the sort of land that extends to the east, just sort of, if you were to look to the bottom of the picture, that land extends out, salt marsh, sand dunes system. It's a site of specialist scientific interest, and we're the custodians of that site as well. Next slide, please. So I mentioned earlier on, we've got really ambitious targets, so most universities do, when it comes to sustainability, making sure that we lead on that front. And in fact, students through the recent SOS Student National Skills Survey identified that over 80% of students want their institutions to do more on sustainability. Like, again, most universities and large corporate institutions, we have sustainability targets and a strategy for sustainability, which embeds everything from education, research, innovation in sustainability through to some of the core topics of net zero, nature positive, and so on. And we realized that to be successful on these things, it's all well and good to have really nice glossy strategies, but it's really, really important to engage everybody in the institution and our wider communities in behaviour change. So we're not just reliant on a glossy strategy, we're actually living and breathing what we do. Through our Green Champions, what we hope to do is embed sustainability into everyday behaviours, reach communities, particularly those teams that we just can't reach as a central team, and then turn awareness into action. Ultimately, people drive culture change, not sort of glossy strategies. Next slide, please. It's important really to identify what are our key challenges in relation to not just culture change, but in particular the climate emergency in relation to nature. And we get quite often students saying, well, what can I do? I don't really feel that I can make a difference in the context of these problems. And us as a particular individuals and as an institution, we're faced with quite tough resource constraints currently, and a need to focus on compliance and performance and not necessarily go beyond and engage. So it has become increasingly hard to engage. In terms of time, everyone's busy. We all have really busy lives. Flexible working's made it really difficult. When I started, it was at 9 to 5, Monday to Friday on campus, so people had a lot more discretionary time, both staff and students. Now we have it seems like hardly any discretionary time on campus to kind of be a community. And so what this sort of technology and use of Swell and making time for sustainability has helped us to do is kind of refocus, hopefully give people a view on what they can do, how they can make a difference, and go beyond, as I say, just the sort of compliance elements. So what we're trying to do is make it visible, accessible, and community-led ultimately at Swansea. Next part of the slide, please. So three key elements to this I'm going to be talking about today is Swell. As Katie introduced, it's our version of Team Jump's sustainability and wellbeing app, and we're using it to connect people to sustainability and wellbeing on campus. Go Green Week, which is an event we host. I think lots of universities have historically had Go Green Weeks. Just give you a flavour of what it means to Swansea and how we built that over the last couple of years. And then ultimately, it's the sort of peer networks and champions that we're bringing in through various other avenues into the equation, whether it be through Swell, Go Green Week, or sustaining that sort of sustainability action over time. Then, so up on the right-hand corner, you can see just some images of how Swell looks on our app. It basically features around key activities that people can join in with, complete one-off tasks, or sort of make a long-term pledge towards. The people can clearly see what sort of impact they're having as a result of these activities. And basically what we're looking for is together through all of these different communities, we can bring them together through whether it be Swell, Go Green Week, or through the peer champions. We're looking to build momentum and ownership of sustainability and wellbeing across campus. And as I say, build that understanding of you can make a difference, small actions make big differences together collectively, and hopefully we can visualize that in particular ways on Swell. Next slide, please. So just a picture of actually how the landing page looks on Swell on the right hand side. That's my landing page. Not very good streak, but students seem quite keen on streaks, and that's a really good one to sustain behavior. I think it goes along with lots of sort of gamification of social media, but on this case, it's a really nice positive one. The idea that Swell connects sustainability with wellbeing for positive staff and student experience. It provides positive framing for sustainability, practical everyday actions, opportunities for participation, and people genuinely find it engaging and rewarding. Quite interestingly, amongst our staff cohort, some of the staff groups that we really struggle to get sort of in contact with or sort of engage in sustainability, like our cleaners, really found Swell really engaging in the early days of rolling out across our staff teams. And similarly, I'm always amazed by when I look at, we have one of the activities is to do a sort of Swellfie, as a selfie of sustainability. Some of the staff and students that I've never met on there, and they repeatedly come back to the program. So it's a really good way of getting out to people that we just couldn't speak to or engage with on just 4 people in a central team. Key idea is really making sustainable living achievable, fun, and really not overwhelming. Yeah, the next thumb down. Thanks. Yeah, and really not focusing, because we do quite often use, unfortunately, the stick when it comes to sustainability. What we're trying to avoid is using negative things like, oh, you know, we're in a climate crisis, environmental damage is happening, focusing on what people are doing wrong, sort of sacrifice certain things and restrictions people to associate, you know, veganism, for example, or, you know, I'm a vegan, I can't eat these things. Well, no, what we want to do is focusing on the positives. So if you can click on the next one. I think that's meant to say not doing enough, by the way, apologies for the typo. Encouraging positive, so focusing in on it's good for your health and well-being. You can engage and take community action together as a group. Small achievable changes, opportunities to participate, and feeling part of something really good is what we tend to focus on as well. Next slide, please. And we, right at the beginning, I talked about our strategy and what we've tried to do. So on the left-hand corner, those sort of green bullets, the goals are our strategic goals. What we've tried to do is embed those into actions. Apologies, a bit small and the quality of the image isn't great, but under each one of those blue tabs, there's a series of actions which give really easy, engaging ways for people to effectively take action in relation to our strategic outcomes. So everything on this one I picked up on our sort of consumption, so that might come in under the circular economy and zero waste goal. It's asking people to make donations of sports kit. We have sports societies on campus, and we find it's a nice way that they can engage with sustainability and make our campus a little bit more circular and avoid waste and consumption. And so, yeah, effectively we found that each one of these activities and each one of these goals has really nice tangible things that we can put into action. We work with our students union and some of our societies to help us to create these actions as well. So we don't come up with them ourselves. Jump are really great at suggesting some, perhaps from other universities or other institutions. We also ask our academic and our students to come up with these ideas, and again, really pleased to see what they come through with and what interests them. Next part of the slide, please. What I've tried to put forward here is some of the outcomes then that both staff and students, we feed back to them through electronic notice boards, through newsletters, student newsletters on, well, actually, these are the outcomes of the activities that you've been completing on Swell, and everything from the amount of users through to the sort of outputs in terms of kilowatt hours of energy saved, water saved, and CO2 reduction from some of the tangible actions that they're taking part in. Next part of the slide, please. And just another nice framing that Jump have been able to provide recently is how we impact the SDGs through our activities. It's also obviously great to see where we're performing really well, but what this has allowed us to do is really focusing on those areas where we're not sort of spreading, we're a bit spread thinly, I suppose, for impact. So we've been refocusing our efforts on some of the areas, as I say, that we're not as good as. Interestingly, what we found is that when we look at our times higher impact rankings, where the peaks are is also where the impact rankings are as universities. You can see the cohorts of students that we're attracting and staff we're attracting are really good at some areas, not so good at others. So yeah, it just helps us to refocus and make sure we've got a nice cover of activities. Next slide, please. So that's generally about Swell. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about our Go Green Week and what we've been doing over the last couple of years, how we've been making it a really sort of fun thing on campus for our staff and students once a year, and how we then sustain that through Swell really through for the rest of the time and through various networks. So Go Green Week acts as a catalyst for engagement. It provides a visible campaign moment. We try to make it really timely and focused around when students are on campus. Sometimes we found freshers is a bit of an information overload, and when we approach them on things like Swell and sustainability, they clearly sort of got either other priorities or lots going on. So we find that Go Green Week gives that kind of focus, and it's a bit more genuine, a transaction with people. Multiple activities across both our campuses, try to make sure that it's really across both our campuses, quite inclusive activities as well. It's opportunities for staff and students to get involved with effectively, and we open it up to the community. We host most of our events on Eventbrite, and we do find some of our events are kind of booked up by people off campus as well, so people from the community. Typical activities include things like sustainability challenges. So we've got a bit of focus on being a nature positive university, and as part of that program with SOS, the Nature Friendly Grounds program, we're running iNaturalist at the moment and trying to get people to subscribe to the app and download it and effectively identify nature and be sort of citizen science, get involved with citizen science on campus. So that was one of the events we hosted this year. There's various wellbeing nature events. You may recognize some of the things that we've got there, like climate fresks, BioBlitz, and community fridge. We also host community volunteering, beach cleans, conservation-led by student and staff champions. So that's another really nice thing we've been able to do with Go Green Week. Is in the beginning we've kind of set it up, we plan it, we kind of get it in place, but what we've tried to do now is once the blueprint's been created, we kind of provide that blueprint to staff and students to be able to just take ownership of themselves. So a lot of these activities and these events now are actually just run by students or staff members rather than ourselves. In fact, I think I kind of was able to just relax and enjoy and network at the most recent one rather than kind of run a stand or run activities. As I say, the main goal is to turn participants into green champions, so that they can come along, have a taster session on something, and then feel that hopefully they can take that forward through the rest of their time at the university and beyond. Next slide, please. And yeah, as mentioned, it's looking at kind of really getting green propositions across to people. Come to Go Green Week, sign up to Swell, win a sustainability prize. We try to make sure each of our activities have a really clear message of taking action or something. There's sort of a transaction in terms of an activity. So in the case of the recent week, it was so Go Green Week, it was only about 2 weeks ago. We made sure we had a Swell stand. During the event, we got over 50 sign-ups. So with this Go Green Week event and with freshers this year, we've been able to obtain about 380 sign-ups to Swell, and just getting people onto the program and started is really key. Yeah, we all, as well as having stands that kind of have got green propositions, we also provide information stands. So one of the things that we're doing at the moment on campus is decarbonising, and we've been able to provide stands to people like our smart LED engineers to really give students and staff an idea about what they're doing with the lighting and engage with them. And we're also decarbonising our district heat network, and so Atkins, Realis, we're able to provide stands and visualizations of some of the programs of work there that's going to be going on. And we had some really nice feedback from students saying, I had no idea this was happening. It's really great to see it happening. Even some students, I think with the LED stand, were trying to ask if they could change the light settings remotely in the session as well, and try and think of ways to save even more energy. So that was great. Lots of great workshops we tend to have. Those are quite soft, nice, engaging activities that people come along to, and then you might find they have quite an open conversation about maybe climate anxiety or something that they want to take action on. So we find that things like wicker making workshops, repair cafes, swap shops, they're really nice sessions that people do bring people in. As I said earlier, it's about those sort of tasters. We also have sort of green ideas thread throughout, so plant-based food, fair trade chocolate, and so on. And what I've tried to do in the imagery from this point onwards really is I show how we're linking activities on campus into Swell, so they, physical action as well as something that they can complete on Swell then in terms of getting rewards for those actions. Next slide, please. One of the key lessons that I would say that we've learned is start where people are. Don't try and create sustainability in a vacuum. Go out, speak to people, set up Go Green Weeks, set up initiatives that attract people in to your activities on campus, or even go along to existing networks. We have a circular economy society, and we've helped them to set up a repair cafe on campus, which is linking with the town centre, environment centre. So these initiatives are already going, but they're kind of in isolation. So what we've tried to do is link them all together and give people rewards on Swell for participating. Soft entry points, as I mentioned, really key. They work really well. Small lifestyle changes, competitions, social activities on campus and in nature in particular, get out there in nature, and people do appreciate that. And I think that's where people tend to open up and have really good conversations about sustainability and sustain them in the longer term then. We also have had our senior leadership come along to lots of these sessions. Staff in particular appreciate that. But also you'll find students sometimes get engaged with senior leadership, and which they don't usually have an opportunity to do. These help engage people who might not normally identify as sustainability champions. We find particularly this one on the photo on the right is right in our halls of residence when people were moving in, and it was a really nice apple pressing opportunity. Apples from our campus. The students were just able to start socializing when they just arrived on campus and started settling into the halls of residence. And as I said, it sort of talks to activities on Swell as well. Next slide, please. Just a couple more things in terms of making engagement stick. So make sure you've got strong communication channels. We regularly use and work with our students' union to get information out there. We use the student newsletter, social media. So we have a Swell. I think it's got over 1,500 followers now, our Swell Instagram account. You use peer-to-peer promotion. So yeah, that kind of green champions talking to each other really, and the residential networks are great as well. We tend to use the residences networks quite heavily for things like switch off campaigns in particular. It's really important to recognize those good behaviors. So we do have a regular, I think it's a £20 voucher for all the top earners of points on Swell. And then we also recognize sort of annual performance on Swell in terms of teams and leaderboards as well, providing certificates. Students really like certificates, staff like certificates. So we found when we do things like carbon literacy courses, providing certificates is really important. Showcase student initiatives, and as I said earlier, make sure where you get the opportunities, bring senior leadership with you on the journey, and make sure they're really visual in that regard. And celebrating action really helps sustain momentum. Next slide, please. And just finally, some takeaways really. 3 lessons we learned at Swansea: create easy, soft entry points for sustainability, use events like Go Green Week and Swell to recruit champions and build trust on campus and in communities, and celebrate and recognise participation wherever you can. When students and staff lead action, sustainability becomes part of campus life and culture is what we've generally found. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it from me.
Amazing, thank you, Teifion. Yeah, some amazing things that you're doing with, you know, team of 4 people, really inspiring stuff. And I particularly like that ownership element of, like, you've started things and then you've encouraged other students and staff to take it, because then that obviously helps you to continue to deliver these things with less resource. So yeah, some fantastic learnings, and I hope that was valuable to people. If you've got questions, please put them in the Q&A on the left hand side, and we will come back to them at the end. For kind of moving on, I just wanted to mention that if you are interested in a program like Swell, we'd be happy to pick up a call after this. We're holding a special offer, so a limited pilot program for 6 months for 500 people for under £10,000 for anyone that we get on a call with by the end of April. And with that, you get the customized rewards website and app, comms support, dedicated support of an engagement manager and a client success manager, quarterly performance meetings, and you can easily order it through the G-Cloud framework. So if you're concerned about a lengthy procurement process, this means that we've passed all the procurement checks and are available for direct award process through the G-Cloud 14 online marketplace. But yeah, I will now move on to talk about kind of activating your champions, kind of top tips. So for myself, as mentioned previously, I'm the engagement director here at Team Jump, which means I lead the team responsible for engaging people in sustainable actions. And we very much believe, as Teifion said, that kind of individual actions that everyone takes has an impact, and as a collective, can really have a big impact. So that's what we're kind of about. And previous to my time at Team Jump, I worked at London School of Economics in the sustainability team running engagement there. So I've also got that kind of understanding of the inside as well. But first, we'll take a poll. So early this year, we published our Sustainability Engagement Trends report, having surveyed 1,300 green champions about their perspectives on engagement around climate action. So I want to ask you first, what percentage of students, and this is us asking students who are part of our programs, believe that not enough people are taking action to prevent and slow down climate change? So you should see a poll come up. Sam, are you? If you don't see it immediately pop up, there's might be a bar across the bottom and a little kind of poll symbol. You can click on that and then poll should come up. So what percentage? So I can see that from the different options, most people have voted 89%, saying 89% of students believe that not enough people are taking action to prevent and slow down climate change. Then secondly, people said 69%, no one said 49%, and we had 7% say 29%. So go on to the next slide, please, Sam. So I can confirm that it's 69% of the ones that we, of our program members, the students, believe that not enough people are taking action. So interestingly, that actually a lot of you said that you thought it was the higher answer. But I think regardless, 69%, 89%, ultimately this 69%, if 2 in 3 students think that people aren't taking enough action, then it follows there'd be a good portion of students willing to take more action or to engage others in that action. So it shows there's a need and a space for engaging students to become champions. And that's not even considering people who will kind of, that soft entry point that Teifion was talking about will come kind of for other benefits. So there's real, I think it highlights there's a real need for this, and Teifion also mentioned that in his start at the start. Next slide, please. So my 8 tips for turning students into champions, you can just go through these, Sam. First is about bringing people together, showing an active community, picking the right channel, supporting students to promote to students, making it appealing, storytelling with data, regular messaging, and celebrate wins. So starting off first with bringing people together. This is about creating opportunities for bringing students together so they can connect with other passionate, like-minded students. I think Teifion had some great examples there. And I think it's helpful to have a focus point. So that could be a litter pick, a honey tasting workshop, a planting event, a clothes swap, but then building in that opportunity for connection and prompts to help people connect. Often we need a little bit of an icebreaker to then generate those kind of conversations. And doing this helps to create a sense of community and belonging, probably not only belonging to the university as a whole, which can be one benefit of helping them settle in, but also, the sustainability community. And it will also appeal to students where perhaps their priority is actually meeting other people in a low-key, inclusive environment, and the sustainability that might not be their first passion. But in that sense, that's that soft entry. We're getting them engaged in that way. Next slide. The second point is showing an active community. So bringing people together, but then really highlighting that it's an active community. So there were some great examples of that in Teifion slides. And I think celebrating and promoting the great work and events that are happening shows that there's an active, engaged presence, that there is an existing and active student community. So it's a great hook to get more people involved. From a psychological lens, it taps into our desires to belong, to do the right thing, to be seen to do the right thing, and also move towards the norm. So if any student is cautious about getting involved, seeing that other people are doing it will help bridge that gap between them just thinking about it and then actually doing it, because they see that actually other people are doing this, and so it's that norm. The images on the right here are from some of our programs where people are submitting actions of what they're doing, and then on the program we're showcasing that, and it really helps to build that, sense of there's an active community and people are doing things. So some really nice examples here. Point 3 is about picking the right channel. So thinking about your messaging, if you can, segment the comms so it's tailored to your audience. So where do students mostly see their updates? Or if you're going even further, say if you were going to target a specific student group or a particular department, where do they mostly see their updates? Is digital or print more effective? Is in person? And if it is in person, what kind of thing, where should it be placed? And most likely it's a combination of all of these at different points. Next slide. So this is from our engagement trends report. Many channels to engage, there's many channels to engage people, and there's not a one size fits all. So we asked, what is the most effective tool in motivating students to take action? And the biggest portion here is financial incentives, and that cut across all groups, students, residents, staff, and employees. But what was interesting with the student group was that actually for them, they had a larger portion that said they were motivated by peer influence and community groups. So that's the orange segment in the pie chart. So that's thinking about those other societies, those networks, the champions. So really leaning into them to do that, which moves me on to my next point. Next slide. Of students promoting to students, and actually creating those opportunities. So we're all influenced and motivated by different people. You only have to look at the influencer spread to understand that and think about yourself and, who do you listen to more and who are you influenced by more? Often it's people who are similar to us, who we can relate to. So actually tapping into the student community to promote to fellow students is, a really effective way of promotion. So with Swell, we contacted students who were already registered to the programme and offered them the opportunity to be brand ambassadors and promote Swell to fellow students at Go Green Week. This is the kind of, on the right, you can see that image of the newsletter we sent out to them. And we found it very effective, promotion coming from a fellow student. It also shows visible Swell community presence because it's people who are within the university doing it, not, I guess, if I was to go along, for example, I'm not, on Swansea campus, I can't talk to them about how it connects with the student life. And it also provides the students, those brand ambassadors, with meaningful work experience. Which brings me on to my 5th point, next slide, which is about making it appealing. So when we were thinking about the brand ambassador opportunity, we knew we needed to make it appealing to students who are busy, got lots of things going on, less uni work, also social life. So we wanted to we thought about reward and recognition. So paying them for their time, a work reference, CV experience, making it easy and quick for them to apply and easy to take part in. And then highlighting that about the kind of impact and purposeful work, knowing that the people who are going to be signing up are probably interested in that. And we can apply that kind of framework to any engagement initiative. So when it comes to promoting and communicating the initiative, I think you want to be ticking off these points so that you speak to as many people and motivations as possible. So how will they be rewarded? We saw on the previous slides that financial incentives are a big motivator for people. And I think, particularly with the student community. So that could be financially, it could be vouchers or discounts, work experience. How can you recognise their effort and achievement? So as Teifion said, certificates, a reference. I've also seen a really nice element of like a sustainability star of the month, which is then featured in internal newsletter. Ease, what barriers or friction points are there in your initiative and how to reduce this? So where are you running your initiative? Is it easy to get to? Any financial barriers, reducing them, and time is everyone's so stretched generally. So how do we make it easy to get involved with? The impact, surveying our members, we've found that a large portion of them really value the impact that they can understand from the programme. So communicating what impact they'll be having. And then finally, co-benefits. So probably everyone on here is really sustainability minded, and that's why we get involved in these things. But some students will be interested in initiatives to gain work experience, make new friends, to network, see new places, improve their own health and well-being, save money. All of these can be other benefits that come from perhaps a sustainability initiative that you're running. So actually highlighting these two will help to broaden the audience and get them involved. Next slide. So we asked students, what is the biggest motivator for students to take action? And the biggest portion here was moral and ethical responsibility. And the second one was protecting nature. And protecting nature cuts across all areas of society. If you're ever thinking about, so Climate Outreach have some great work around how you can segment comms to different groups of people in society and what will motivate them, speaking around climate action. And protecting nature is something that cuts across. So yeah, protecting nature is also always a good one. But you can see on the right hand side, we had that all these other things like well-being and security for the future and saving money are also motivators for students. So going back to that co-benefit thing, tapping into that. Next slide. I just want to put a separate slide on communicating ease. So 69% of students see competing priorities as a barrier to climate action. So the need for ease of whatever we're engaging them with is really important. So if that's getting them to do the small actions, it's how easy that is. If it's turning them into champions, it's about making it really clear of the things that they can do that will fit into their existing student life and be easy for them to engage with. Next slide. So point 6 was about storytelling with data. This is combining simple and easy to understand data points, such as energy saved and waste reduced, with a compelling story to speak to both head and heart. It uses data to demonstrate progress and support conversations and helps people to understand impacts and feel inspired and motivated to act, so sustaining that momentum. An example here could be that a result, a system change or process change has as a result seen that lots more, there's been a decrease in the disposable water bottles at events. That's a very nice, tangible data story and a celebration story. Next slide. So my next tip for turning students into champions is around regular messaging. So the marketing rule of 7 was coined back in the 30s, but it's still very relevant today. And it means that we need to see messages 7 times before we act on them. We're not selling products, but we are selling ideas, identities, and a lifestyle. So to that extent, we want to regularly communicate sustainability messages and initiatives, because it might take several months for someone to engage or before they consider engaging. That regular messaging creates visibility and demonstrates an active presence. And when people see that something is active and dynamic and evolving, it's exciting, and they probably want to, it increases that desire to be part of it. So all those things about, when an event happens, showcasing that all helps to reinforce that we've got this active community, and will help people to join in, and that entry point for turning students into champions. My final point is about celebrating wins publicly. So this speaks to my earlier message of showing an active community, but it's also broader than that. So a win might be the kilograms of waste avoided as a result of a process change internally. That is as important to promote as the events and the workshops that students are joining in with, because if students are promoting the program or any engagement initiative, you're wanting them to be champions, we want them to feel that they're part of a bigger movement, and that it's not just them that are doing stuff, but the university at a kind of operational level is making changes and improvements. So they feel that sense of it's bigger than them, and they're part of that, and that can be really powerful. These are a couple of examples from our newsletters where we're sharing actions from members and what they've done and celebrated on the programme, and also the winners, showcasing that they're doing lots, and there's people who are active in the community, but equally having in there about those systemic and operational wins as well. So as a summary, you can just go through them, Sam. We covered bringing people together, showing an active community, picking the right channel, supporting students to promote to other students, making the opportunity appealing, using data to tell stories, regularly messaging, and celebrating wins. I think a lot of this speaks to stuff that Teifion was covering in his part, and hopefully I imagine lots of things that you're already doing, and hopefully this has been valuable to then think about other things that you can do to kind of activate your students. We would love to hear your questions and thoughts. So if you've got any thoughts, do add them into the chat. Questions you can put into the Q&A section. And before we move on to that, just want to remind about the offer that we're running today on our program. So that 6-month pilot program for 500 people. So drop us an email and book a call, and we can talk to you more about that. Thank you for tuning in. We've now got time for some questions. We've also got a very short feedback form. We'd really appreciate your comments to help us improve these webinars and make them genuinely useful. So Sam will post that in the chat and also send it around afterwards. Please do add into the chat. And Sam has also shared that engagement trends report that I mentioned, which you can get on our website. So Teifion, Graham is saying, it's great to see Swell continue to develop. What are the most popular Swell activities, and does this differ for staff and students?
Thanks, Graham. Nice to hear from you. Effectively, the ones that, as kind of mentioned in the slides earlier, really from both mine and Katie's presentations, the ones that are easiest to engage with initially, I think. So still we see things like recycling, cycling to campus, or using sustainable commuting, things that people can kind of take small actions on a daily basis tend to be the most popular activities. Having said that, though, people still like the sort of one-off activities as well. So things like donating clothes to our on-campus donation points, kind of an act of kindness, for example. We tend to only provide the opportunity to do that on Swell, usually sort of every couple of months. So we don't reward people for saying that they've done that every day, because it's probably unrealistic. But I suspect, yeah, if you look at our stats, the main ones are around recycling and, as I say, sort of day-to-day, everyday, quite simple and easy activities. What I would say is that we do tend to, staff in particular, obviously been part of Swell for a lot longer. Some staff obviously been with the university for the whole sort of 10 years that we've been operating. They tend to say, oh, that's easy now. And at that point, a kind of light bulb goes off in my mind. It is easy now. And I think like we shouldn't take that for granted. We've come on a journey and we've had, for example, segregated at source for about 10 years now. And people say to me quite regularly, oh, they've only just put it in place in other places. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. So you've come on the journey quite quickly and early with us, and Swell's really helped us with that.
Nice. And I guess it's interesting that change to them saying, oh, that's easy now. It shows that behavior change. And it's kind of great that you're like, yes, great, it's easy now, you know, and can move on. There's a satisfaction in that. Kat from UWE Bristol. So our students are really keen on boosting their employability through sustainability volunteering. How could you say how Team Jump could help with that? So I can answer that. I think with sustainability volunteering, so one of the things that we can do is have, so you saw from the Swell programme those different activities, and if you've got existing volunteering opportunities, but perhaps they're not getting communicated out, then we can have activities on the programme which promote those volunteering opportunities. We can also include them in the newsletter, so they're getting in front of students. And the activities then reward students for doing it, so they would earn the green points so that they can climb the leaderboard. You could also collect photos from them if you want. We can then, you know, showcase, going back to that celebrating wins. We obviously, with as I mentioned, the student brand ambassador, that wasn't technically a volunteering, but you know, it was built, that was it, speaking to employability, and so we created that brand ambassador opportunity, and we're now kind of thinking, how can we evolve this as well beyond those being at those events and promoting that. Teifion, did you have anything to add?
I think that all of those ideas are really great ones. The only thing I'd add was during Go Green Week, we actually worked with our employability team in the university to host a series of workshops on employability, and with a feature around green employability, if you like. So yeah, how students can kind of boost their CVs and their job applications with green volunteering experience, and what employers are looking for in terms of people. I think in particular, when I looked at the most recent survey for employability, I think it was LinkedIn survey, actually, national survey, there's an exponential growth in green skills required by employers, particularly around policy, understanding of legislation. And so, yeah, during that workshop, they talked in particular about those things and what you can do to help improve your likelihood of getting into a green career in the future. I think actually on Swell, yeah, there's the education element now as well, which has been really great. So there's very short courses that students and staff can do in their own time. I think that also provides people with an opportunity to get a bit of understanding and broaden their horizons, not just in relation to their sort of main academic course. It could be anything from sort of business through to engineering. But if they've had some time on Swell, they can have studied some sort of green skills, maybe even volunteered, as Katie was saying, and built that into their CVs in some shape or form.
Nice. I'd also add, we have also had programs where we've had a kind of green careers theme. So we've had specific activities that are very tailored to those employability skills, and that was with another university, and had specific activities on that. So we see it's a big area, and there's a lot of passion from young people to be involved in it, and that's great, and we want to galvanize on that, right? We want to make the most of that. I'd be interested to hear how this platform could help with increasing recycling rates. Do you want to take that, Teifion, or shall I?
Yeah, I'm happy to kickstart it. I think, like, from the outset, as I mentioned earlier, in relation to the other question, recycling has been one of the main areas that we back, probably 2020, perhaps even earlier than that, introduced recycling as an activity alongside the implementation of hard segregation at source infrastructure across our campuses. And yeah, it really helped sew the two together, really, so people saw new bins. We took away office-based bins. Everyone had, crazy to think, but everyone had like a desk bin underneath the sort of desk, which seemed like taking candy from a small child at the time, but through Swell and through sort of lots of really good communications and incentives, we were able to take those away, put segregation to every sort of part of our campus, externally, internally, and in halls of residence, and take students and staff on that journey with us, explain to them why we were doing it, why it would mean better optimized recycling and a more circular economy, and then reward them through Swell, through weekly activities, I should say, to say that they'd, to sort of demonstrate how they'd recycled items. We also now have gone beyond that. So in Wales, we have an initiative to go beyond recycling, and things like bringing in, which we have done recently, a deposit return scheme for our cups. Swell has been a great way to host an activity to boost that reward of people buying a reusable cup and continuing to use it on campus. So they not only get a discount at the point of service, but they also then get a reward for saying that they've used it so many times on campus every week.
Nice. And I'd add to that with the kind of the how, you touched on there, Teifion, that education piece is so important to explain why it's happening, what are the benefits of it. So on the platform, there is that reporting what they've done, but then we can also add quizzes and kind of that information piece to help. Quizzes can be like, how do you segregate your waste, and what's the right ways? And that's an easy, kind of fun, rewarding way to do that education about a topic that people get, pretty passionate about, waste and recycling, and managing that change. We are pretty much at time, and there aren't any other questions. So we can wrap it up there. I want to say thank you everyone for joining, for your contributions. It's great to see you've got quite a range of people here. I hope it's been valuable and inspiring as we continue the year and also think about the next academic year. Teifion, thank you so much for your input. Some fantastic examples and some really exciting work happening at Swansea. With all in the context of everything, it's always so uplifting and validating to see that there's some really great stuff going on, and it gives a lot of hope, I think, to what is happening. As I said, we'll be sending around the recording and then also a feedback form, so do fill that in and get in touch with us if you're interested in a programme with that offer of what we're offering at the moment for a 6-month pilot. We can get on a call in before the end of April. So yeah, thank you so much, Teifion, and hope everyone found that useful.
Thank you.